every ministry member is a hardliner of the Church of Set, but you are. Dedicated to hardline Setite orthodoxy, you and other members of the Church of Set believe that you must conspire to weaken all other clans and their founders to pave the way for your founders' resurrection. Perhaps you are a new member, desperate for mentorship in the hostile world you now find yourself in. Perhaps you reject the chains of servitude to the Antediluvians and seek freedom from all other forms of enslavement through the teachings of Set. Greetings, kindred. I am voivodemekhet, and welcome back to our World of Darkness and the Laws of the Night playlist. In this playlist, we go over LARP, live action roleplay rules for Vampire the Masquerade, which are presented to us by Mind's Eye Theater and by Night Studios. So, Loresheets in the book are marked down as a special type of background advantage. You can buy these at character creation, or with your storyteller's permission, you can buy them after your character's already been in play for some time. This is something that you're going to want to talk to your storyteller about, because not all lore sheets will fit within the confines of a chronicle. Lore sheets are a special way of not only giving your character a special advantage or advantages in gameplay, but also tying them in to the overall background meta plot within the Vampire the Masquerade storyline. I have found as a storyteller that lore sheets tend to be ignored at character creation just because it's a new mechanic and people don't exactly know what it is. Now, depending on when you're watching this, or even in your chronicle setting, this might not be true for you. You could very well have a game there people are obsessed with lore sheets, and with good reason. People who are used to playing Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition tabletop will know the benefits of lore sheets and exactly what they can do for your character. And there are several options in Laws of the Night and in future publications coming out from by Night Studios. That being said, I do want to point out that lore sheets are a lot different in LARP than they are in tabletop. In the tabletop setting of Vampire the Masquerade, lore sheets are going to add a special nuance to your character sheet. You might get a bump here and there in a background or even a discipline power because you have an associated lore sheet. However, in LARP, lore sheets tend to be a heavier hitting mechanic. They give you massive advantages, and they also should be something that are limited in a game, maybe only allowing a certain number of people out of a larger group to take that amount. Or you could build an entire chronicle completely around a lore sheet. Another huge difference from tabletop to LARP is that, much like all other backgrounds in LARP, the lore sheets are limited to 3 different advantages instead of 5 as they are in tabletop, as there is a condensed way of running things as with all backgrounds in LARP compared to tabletop. Purchasing lore sheets can be done with your free points at character creation. At character creation, you get 7 free background traits, and you are completely allowed to dump those points into a lore sheet, getting those free dots. And I want to stress that very much because there's a difference between dots and experience traits. At character creation, you will be given a free amount of experience traits to flesh out your character, to make them an individual. And when you have those are to be spent as experience points. Backgrounds are purchased at 3 experience per dot. But with your 7 free traits of dots, you can just take the points completely without worrying about the expanded cost when it comes to experience. That being said, if you wanted to buy the Sect Veteran Lore Sheet, for example, Taking that would cost you 6 of your 7 free dots of backgrounds. However, if you're going to buy it with your free XP at character creation, it would cost you 3 points for a level 1, 6 points for a level 2, and 9 experience points for a level 3. Bring the total to 18 points if you wanted to buy a complete lore sheet. Now, personally, I am the kind of person who likes to buy things little by little over time so that my character has a chance to grow into what those advantages are. That is my style of playing. It is not the only style of playing. And being able to start with a small amount of a lore sheet to build up the tension is a lot of fun. With that being said, you do not have to buy these in order of experience. You do not have to start with level 1. You could very well start with the 3-point background instead, because what these are associated advantages with the meta plot that your character can take advantage of in any order they wish. You could buy a 1, you could buy 1 and a 3, you could buy just the second one. You can do it any way you want to. And that needs to be kept in mind, that these are not a progression style trait. In that way, multiple characters could start with the same lore sheet and have completely different advantages for taking it. So tonight we're going over the Church of Set lore sheet, which is ministry only in Vampire the Masquerade, Mind's Eye Theater's Laws of the Night. This is an interesting lore sheet because there's a couple of different ways that you could in fact look at it. You are a ministry member. Does that necessarily mean that you are a member of the ministry clan? I'm not really sure how that's going to work because there are other members of other clans that are not technically Setites or followers of Set or ministry, depending on how you want to look at it. I think as a storyteller, I would basically say that this lore sheet is for the clan ministry only, in my opinion. But other storytellers might look at it in other ways. That doesn't mean that you can't have clergy of different clans or congregates of different clans. But I do think that this should be kind of like stuck to the bloodline. And we'll go over everything and see exactly how that works here. So this right here is the cult within the cult of the ministry. So let's go ahead and see how the various advantages work in this context. Investing 1 dot in this lore sheet gets you congregation. You have access to a flock of kine from the fringe religions or cult that you can manipulate and feed from. You may choose 5 dots from the allies, havens, herd, or resources backgrounds and their associated advantages. So investing 1 dot into this lore sheet gets you 5 points to spread around backgrounds and their associated advantages. This right here is already one of those things where it's like, hey, look, I've put 1 point in here and I'm getting this mass amount, this XP dump to put into things already. And it's impressive. But it's also one of those things that you're looking at an advantage for a specific purpose. And having a congregation of humans, it says kind, therefore humans, who are willing to do things for you as per the dots that you associate them with, can definitely lead to some incredible advantages. Just wow when you stop and think about what this could actually mean for your character and what you could accomplish with a ministry member in your city. Investing 2 dots in this background gets you degenerative process. The Church of Set teaches that chains can only be broken through hitting and understanding rock bottom. By indulging in corruption, they rise anew. If a character chooses to willingly gain a stain by breaking a chronicle tenet, which cannot be reduced in any way, you may gain 1 hunger and lead the character in prayer for 5 minutes. After 5 minutes of prayer is complete, they heal 3 aggravated damage. You may do this once per night, per person. Degregative process opens up a very interesting concept. If you can actually talk another player, or possibly NPC if your storyteller is kind enough, into breaking a chronicle tenant and just taking 5 minutes of prayer or meditation out of game for a moment, they heal 3 points of aggravated damage. This could mean the difference between life and death in a game. And the fact that you can do this once per night per person, if you have an entire group of people who are willing to listen to you, you could change the tides in a game, especially when it comes to a combat situation. Aggravated damage is really nothing to laugh at. Investing 3 dots into this Loresheet gets you Avatar of Belief. You are a pillar of faith in the teachings of Set, hell-bent on bringing about the resurrection of your clan founder. When you sin for Set, you are simply doing what you know you must. Once per night, when you and your storyteller perceive your actions to be reflective of the will of Set, you may reduce stains gained for a sin by 2. This is one of those lore sheets that kind of reflects how paths of enlightenment may have worked in earlier systems. The fact that if you do something that is in the name of Set, and your storyteller agrees with you on how you're doing this, you can reduce stains taken by 2. Most things, if they are horrendous enough, are only going to give you 2 stains. So the fact that you might be able to just walk it off is a massive advantage if you can justify it. And that's really what paths of enlightenment are, is the ability to justify not following the standard ways of humanity because of your personal chosen ethic. The Church of Set leads to a lot of interesting considerations on how your character as a ministry member can very well get away with things that other characters could not because of their shackling humanity. And I love the way that this lore sheet works, because it does open up a lot of interesting roleplay opportunities. Church of Set is just it's an interesting alternative to the standard Cain mythos when it comes to Vampire the Masquerade, because there's always that question of, in a game, who's right and who's wrong when it comes to the history of kindred existence. I am voivodemekhet, and thank you for joining me in this look at the lore sheet Church of Set for ministry members of Vampire the Masquerade. Good evening.